Hey guys, welcome back to Fire on the Hill. My name is Matt. Today I got a surprise for you guys. This is something that just came out of the blue. I found out about this processor within 1 or 2 weeks, and then it showed up at my house. That's how quick this happened. But right here beside me is the YHT 45T processor. This has a live deck. It's got an in-feed belt, claw to hold the logs, 25-inch chainsaw bar, hydraulically driven into a 4-way, 6-way, 8-way, or 12-way wedge, and it goes up the belt-driven conveyor and dumps off. It's literally a full processor, guys, but for the price of a Wolf Ridge 28 Pro C. All right, so guys, what fuels this processor is a Honda GX630. It's a 20 horsepower engine with electric start. This thing, you know how Hondas are, they're reliable, good to go. You have the main pump here, and then you have a hydraulic motor running the 24-inch bar. You got your reservoir for your bar oil. Then we'll go on the other side. All right, we have a 5-gallon fuel tank. At least I think it's 5 gallon. It could be 6 or 7, we don't know. Right here is your in-feed belt. This is what brings the log to the chainsaw. You have your live deck here. It lifts and folds up so you can trailer this thing if you wanted to. It's got some chains to move the logs. You have your claw here. So down below here is a splitting cylinder. You have your battery here. This is your sight glass for your hydraulic fluid. That's your hydraulic tank. I think it's like an 11-gallon hydraulic tank. What's weird about this machine is it takes 68 hydraulic oil, which most take like a 32 or 46. So it's a really, really thick oil, and this thing takes forever to warm up when it's really cold. So right here, this is how you would get to the chainsaw, change your chain, all that stuff. So they made it accessible here. But that's your chain, 25-inch bar there. This thing cuts pretty quick. So over here is where you control everything, guys. Let me get all the sawdust off of here. So this knob right here picks up and folds the live deck, or it advances the wood to the in-feed belt. This right here, up and down, is the chainsaw bar up and down. This right here is the wedge up and down. It's got a hydraulic cylinder there. This right here is your in-feed belt as well as your clamp, so you can go backwards, forwards, up or down. This is your chainsaw. You pull this to run the chainsaw, and then this right here is just for the splitter. This right here, you have to hold it the whole time, and then you can push back, and it has auto retract. So this conveyor is held up by a winch here, which is pretty cool. It actually comes with a remote control winch or a plug-in winch, so if one goes, you have the other. It's belt driven with cleats like my small conveyor. You can move it up and down, and that's it. Say to you and come on this side right here, you can see the wedge. So right now I'm just using the 6-way wedge because I don't have my 8-way yet. I'm still waiting on that. So big pieces right now, but I plan to bring those down. So in here, you can see this right here. This is what measures the wood. So you bring it up to that, and that's how you measure the length of the wood. Right here, guys, this thing's missing a panel, because if you look down in here, you can see there's controls right here on these valves where you can control the speed of the valve. That's the reason I hadn't put this on there. This right here will control the speed of the conveyor, and this control the speed of the chainsaw. So if you want to come over here, this right here is the cover for it. They didn't just send it without it. I just didn't put it on because, like I said, I'm trying to figure everything out. It actually comes with these. This is a really cool idea, but it doesn't work for big wood. What you do is where that measuring stick is, these sit in that channel right there. And when the wood drops, it hits this and bounces it level into the splitter. It actually works for small wood. It works really good. But if you're doing anything with size, they get in the way and get bent. There's my 4-way wedge right there. And that's pretty much what comes with the processor. All right, guys, so this purchase is nothing like anything I would usually purchase. Usually I'm the guy that likes Chevy. I bought a Wolf Ridge. I like the tried and true stuff. But I can't see myself spending 40 grand on a processor when I know I'm not going to have the wood to feed it and get the money out of it. So this gave me the option to get a processor without putting in all that money and kind of waiting for wood. If I could buy wood, I'd buy wood and get a big processor. But this is my way of getting into the processor world. All right, so guys, this processor came in a 6 by 10 foot crate. I'll show you the picture right here. So this thing pretty much came unassembled, and I had assembled pretty much the whole thing. It says it takes around 18 hours to assemble, and it's pretty close to that, guys. But we got it put together, and I ran it for about 9 hours. But a lot of that's been downtime trying to figure out things, fix things. My biggest thing with this thing is I've had to find and replace a lot of the set screws that are in these bearings and stuff. Which again, it's not a big deal. It's just finding it, adjusting it, tightening it, all that good stuff. But for the most part, I've gotten probably 4 cord out of this thing since I've been running it. But like I said, I got 9 hours on it, so that just shows you how much time I've been kind of figuring things out. Honestly, getting the live deck set was a difficult thing for me because, of course, I'm on uneven land. All right, guys, so what makes this much different than my usual purchases is this is a Chinese-made machine. I usually like American-made stuff that I know I can get service and stuff on. Well, this is something that you can't get service on unless you have a good dealer, and that goes with anything, right? So the main reason I purchased this was the guy that I bought it from, his name is Randall, is technically my dealer, and he's awesome, guys. He delivered when he said he was going to deliver. Helped me unload it, all that good stuff. The machine, like I said, has had some issues, and he's helped me figure those out, fix those. If I call him, he answers. If he couldn't answer, he'll give me a call back, and he's helped me really figure this thing out. Anything you purchase, you always want to make sure you have support. And that was the big reason I actually purchased this, was I knew I had support. I knew I could go to somebody because I know there was going to be issues. All right, guys, so let's stop talking about this machine and let's see what we can do. Let me go ahead and load the live deck for you, and we'll get cutting. Rookie move, guys. These poles are way longer than I thought they were, but I'm gonna move the chain up and then we'll throw this on and get started. Should just lift her up and get you on there. There we go. So come over here and see. The reason I have to load them on the left side as much as I do is because they'll hit over here. So you have to get it, you know, a little over there. And these are kind of too long. It's basically what it comes down to. Let me get a measuring tape real quick and see how long these really are. All right, guys, so we'll measure the longest one here. 181 inches. So it's like 15 feet and like a half inch, I think. Let's see. $181, so 15 feet 1 inch. So this live deck's only 9 feet. So the live deck's 9 feet, and these logs right here are 15 in an inch. So it's definitely the max, just because the log will tilt. You saw that when I loaded it. But this guy right here is bigger on this end. Inches. This is a maple log, 19 inches. This is the max that this machine will do. So let's see what happens. All right, guys, so we hit this lever right here. It brings the wood to the infeed. This is definitely the biggest log I've done yet, so you're about to see it. Woo. All right, clamp it down. That's definitely the biggest I've done yet. Let's raise this wedge. Turn the conveyor up, there we go. So this is an issue that I have with this big wood. You see how it hits the chains, guys? Luckily it doesn't mess anything up, but that's an issue with big wood. Obviously I'm gonna have to resplit this, but I just want to show you guys how big it can do. So that's 19 inches. Do it again. Pretty amazing, guys, for the price of a log splitter. forgot to put on my glasses, guys. I'll tell y'all that story. All right, guys, so that was the max this machine can do. You saw it can do it. It has issues, obviously, with just the cutting part of it. It's just a little bit slower, but it does the job. So the nest log here is going to be a little over 12 inches. This is going to be 7, and this is going to be 7.5. This right here is like the prime time size that I found. Small ones, not so much, because you're not getting so much wood out of them. But those big logs, they're big. So also, I wanted to say too, the chainsaw is not cutting at its best potential, because I have run 3 or 4 cores through it, and you can see the ugly wood that I'm putting through it. I do feel like the chain is dulling a little bit, because you can hear the engine bogging down more than it would. So maybe on the next video, I'll sharpen it and see how much better it works. But poplar is pretty easy to cut, so let's go and do that next. So all you do to get the log bit to go in, you just chain forward. Sometimes, because you see how that one's bowed, it doesn't want to roll, so sometimes you have to help it a little bit. Alright, so then 10 feet forward. I'm going to cut that ugly off real quick. gotta run it till it almost bogs down to get the speed out of it. But like I said, if it was sharper chain, it'd be faster. And all this allows you to move stuff at the same time, so I can advance both of them. Alright guys, now for the small wood, we should fly through this 6-inch rounds or 6-inch diameter logs. I'll lower this 6 ways so we can get smaller pieces. Let's see something here. I don't know why it's stuck. I'm telling you guys, with these long logs, it sits uneven so it doesn't grip and push it all the way. See all those knots down there where the branches were? That'll hold you up every time. And here's where you just lower the log, the wedge there. We'll get smaller pieces. guys, so y'all see what we're working with. Like I said, it's Chinese made, it's not American made. I expected issues. It's, you know, cheap everything, you know, but it makes it where I'm able to use a firewood processor when I wouldn't be able to, or I'd have to go way in debt, which wouldn't make sense. So this thing is supposed to do 1.5 an hour if you have 2 people. Honestly, the thing that sucks about this is that the log deck's so short. I think I have to do, well, it depends on the thickness of the wood, but at least 2, maybe 3 loads to get a full cord. So that does take a little bit of time. But you guys saw I put it to the limits. I did its max, which is 19 inches. It's got a 9-foot log deck. I think it's supposed to do like 12, 13 feet logs. It did 15. And you can see how it just, you can't do it, because what it is you can only put the logs so far on this side because they'll hit the machine. So all the weight's on that left side and just, you know, teeters. And of course y'all saw how it made it struggle moving the logs to the end feed, because only the left side was moving, or the right side was only moving because, again, the log wasn't flat on the log deck. But overall, guys, I'm super happy with this. I couldn't believe I got this for, like I said, the same price as the Wolf Ridge. Like I said, it's not perfect. The one thing that does kind of suck about this machine is nothing's auto. Like all these new processors, you know, you hit your lever for your chainsaw, it goes down and up at the same time. Everything on this machine is done by you. So if you want to go down, you have to push down. If you want to go up, you have to push up. If you want the chainsaw to run, you have to hit the chainsaw with the lever. Same with the splitter. Maybe one day I'm going to put a valve for auto cycle for that splitter, and that will help free up some space, or free up my hands. But honestly, the slowest part of this machine, I think, is the splitter. It's got a crazy cycle time, which I'm hoping to fix that with other upgrades. I'm definitely going to put an oil cooler on this machine. It did not come with an oil cooler, and the reason they didn't want to put an oil cooler on it because it's got such a heavy weight hydraulic oil that it shouldn't get that hot. But I live in North Carolina and it gets hot in the summers, so I know I'm going to need it. As you can see, guys, these are all big pieces. I don't plan to do this like this for long. Like I said, I ordered an 8-way and they make a 12-way for it, but I'm gonna try the 8-way first. Hopefully with the 8-way, it makes the pieces smaller so that the conveyor doesn't jam anymore. But I wanted you guys to see that, because like I said, I paid for this. I'm not being sponsored or anything like that, so I want y'all to know exactly what I'm seeing, what I'm getting from this processor. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.